my gosh. I've lived here my whole life. I've been a Browns fan my whole life. Is this mic on? Hi, Ryan. Good morning.
Oh, it's not a good morning.
Hi. Ugh, good God.
I'm so flustered.
Did that... It's not even your fault, Ryan. We wake up today, honestly. We've seen some stuff, man. Okay? You and me and Ryan, we've lived it. We've been here. We've been through this. And nothing in my Browns fandom could have prepared me for what happened last night. It's even worse that it's the Steelers. It's even worse that Deshaun Watson might be facing a suspension this morning. If you missed that news about contact with the official, it's Chubb, it's Watson. I have not woken up this way in a long time, and especially at this point of the season. Like, especially 2 games in, we have so much to get to this morning. We might not take a break. We're taking calls this morning. For the first time ever on the show, we need the therapy. You need the therapy. 216-626-7901. We're going to take calls this morning. We have a lot to get to here on the show. The mics are working. I'm here. Good morning. An Irish coffee you don't know. There was a shot glass sitting on the desk this morning. It unfortunately was not full, by the way.
Matt, can I...
It looked like tequila.
Can I just give you a little visual of how I'm feeling this morning?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
How does that look to you?
I'm sure that there are a good select group. That game finished last night, and they had to step outside just to rip one real quick before they head up to bed. You do you, we'll do us. Right here on the Matt Fontana Show. Welcome to the show, everybody. Oh, yes, I am Matt Fontana. He is Ryan Tyler. We are here on Big Play. We're streaming live on the iHeart app. We're up on YouTube. We're up on social media as well. I'm going to hit the retweet right there in our video because I know we have a lot of people interested in getting on board with us. We are going to take calls this morning. We are going to discuss a lot with you this morning. Twitter inbox is open. I mean, this is one of those days, like this is just a therapy day. There are serious questions that we have to get to. I kid you not, and I got to thank our friends at Tipico for this. Big Play 150 is our code. And I thank the people at Big Play because you're going to afford us. We probably will not break for the next hour. Like, I doubt very highly that we are going to take a break in the first hour of this show. We're going to run straight through it. I want your tweets. We're taking your calls again, 216-626-7901. If you want to get on, we're going to take calls this morning. We just need to talk. We just need to air this out because there are, unfortunately, 1,000 things that we have to unpack from this game last night. And it's not going to, here's the issue, that none of what we do this morning is going to make you feel any better. And that's okay. Because we have now got into this point where you're just going to feel like crap. We are just going to feel like utter crap for the next 24 hours. You try to say that sports won't impact our lives. It does. Everybody's sitting out there. It's a blessed day when you get to wake up. Okay? We did that. We're here. But, man, a gut punch. I've not felt that horrible after a game in a long time. And it's not just like the play of Deshaun Watson, which we have to get to. It's the injury to Nick Chubb. And it's him, too. You know what I mean? Like, not just the impact that he has on this team, but the person. It just sucks. And it's sports. And God bless it, man.
I'm still pinching myself, Matt.
Dude,
it doesn't feel real. I woke up this morning in cold sweats.
And it's all of that. It's that Nick Chubb is everything that you would ever want somebody that represents our team. He's a great teammate. He's a great player. He's a good person. And he is one of the biggest pieces to your team. I don't know. Frankly, I feared a day of what this offense would look like without Nick Chubb. And here I am having to play out the rest of the season. I don't mean to sound alarmist, and I don't. I just, we need to stay positive about this. I have legitimate fears about Nick Chubb's future as a career. Like that injury, and you could say the same thing about his Georgia injury. because it was the same knee, unfortunately, and that injury was gruesome as the one that was last night. And he thankfully came out of that and turned into the Nick Chubb that we know. And every ounce of my being right now is just trying to send good vibes to Nick, because the Browns need him. He didn't deserve that to happen the way that it did. And I just hope with modern medicine, with everything that's going on, that he can play football next year. This year is done. This year is completely done, which is sad. And now we sit here and wait for the update. Is this... Do you want to know the two words that I don't want to hear today? Nerve damage. Nerve damage. That's what we need to avoid at all costs today with Nick Chubb. LCL, MCL, ACL, any other CLs that you know in the leg, that, okay. Maybe patella, maybe it's dislocated, okay. But I'm hoping so much that this is just tendons, that these are just ligaments. You can get the surgery, and he'll return to form next year. It's a giant fear. And we'll get to this later. I don't see Kareem Hunt coming back to this team. I'll tell you why a little bit later. We'll run through other running backs, because Lord knows we're going to need one. It wouldn't be that big of an issue. Again, it's a big issue with Nick Chubb. I'm not saying it's not. But the fact that Deshaun Watson looks utterly lost. Like, oh my God. What happened? Seriously. And we talked rust, and you want to play it off about the weather. Now, I have myself sitting here looking back at every other game he played and saying, wait a minute. Was I fooling myself? Was this in front of us the whole time? Is this something that we saw through 7 games, 6 last year and Cincinnati last week, and we kept making excuses? When in reality, it was slapping us in the face. And we wanted to not see it? I didn't see any weather last night. I didn't even see a secondary that was halfway decent. Yeah, TJ Watt, very good. What in the hell happened to Deshaun Watson? There was no semblance of that game last night that I felt like he looked good. A couple individual throws. He's throwing it away on 3rd and 14. And sometimes, that's the case. That's sometimes the right throw. He's missing guys. His accuracy is gone. And you want to know the biggest issue and fear of all of this? He is afraid in the pocket. He is skittish in the pocket. He is double clutching throws. That tells you that he is not reading the defense in any way. Offensive line, I didn't think played all that horrible last night. I've seen worse. Lord knows I have. DeJuan Jones held his own for the most against TJ Watt. Okay, TJ Watt's going to get a sack. I will tell you that right now. When he plays the Browns, I don't give a damn who's out there. He's going to get a sack. Okay, he got the one. The strip fumble, he didn't even make the play. He just happened to be standing there, picked it up and running it. Okay, fine, whatever. Offensive line gave Watson time, and he still was not accurate, and he still could not complete passes. Is he allowed to throw to Elijah Moore, too, by the way? Donovan Peoples-Jones, Ryan, is on this team. And Amari Cooper gutting through that groin injury, and that's part of my good, the bad, and the ugly, which we'll get to a little bit later on the show. I always tweet it out. Amari Cooper's a gamer, man, and I appreciate him. And again, as bad as last night was, I'm afraid to see what last night would have been without Amari Cooper. That guy's a gamer, and he can play. Thank goodness. And David Njoku, a little here and there. But I just found myself watching the game, Brian, over and over, and I go, can we throw it to Donovan Peoples-Jones? Can we at least get it to Elijah Moore a couple of times, please? And then it comes back to the conversation about Stefanski and Watson, which we'll get into as well. But we're going to post this as the 2 for Tuesday, and I can only imagine where this is going to go. 2 questions, 2 answers. First up, have you lost faith in Deshaun Watson? I cannot believe that I'm here, that we are here, that we are 7 games into his Browns career with $230 million on the line in 5 years, and we are asking this question. Have you lost faith in Deshaun Watson as the starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns? There's a world that you lose that game last night, but Watson looks okay, right? Watson looks okay. Fluky things kind of happen. Okay, the first interception. Not a great throwing football either, but I'm not just washing that away. That was a bad football. That was a bad pass. That was an inaccurate pass. Bryant coughs it up. Okay, pick 6, whatever, fine. But, fumble here, this kind of stuff. You could lose that game with your quarterback playing well. You didn't. And I guess if you really, which maybe is something that we need this morning, want to try to pull something out of this 5-alarm fire that's going on. You want to run in to try to save something. It's that your quarterback played horrible and you still had to look at the game in the fourth quarter, right? And that speaks to the defense, which we'll get to later because Jim Schwartz, man, whew. That defense is balling. Grant Delpit's making himself money every single weekend that he plays. Injuries aplenty, of course, but that defense was amazing last night. And they kept you in the game. And if this is going to be the path that we're going down without Nick Chubb and Deshaun Watson playing the way they are, we're going to need a little bit of that defense. We're going to need 85 Bears. We're going to need that Tampa defense and that Baltimore defense that took their teams to Super Bowls, okay? We're going to need that if that's how this season's going to roll. The Russ thing is over. It's over, okay? And I understood people that wanted to throw that out the window after 2 games last year. And I was one that again, making excuses, I sound like an idiot. Because it was obviously standing right in front of me, slapped me in the face. Watson was not playing well, and what did I do? I bear hugged and grabbed onto he's rusty. Watson was not playing well. He's not playing well. Live stream there for you. Checking that. A lot of people on the stream. Appreciate your support this morning. I just bear hugged and grabbed onto he's rusty. He's rusty. He's rusty. He's Rusty Shackelford. If you get that reference, you're watching and listening to the right show. My attorney, Rusty Shackelford. King of the Hill, if you don't want to get it. We're all inviting everybody. If you got that, that was King of the Hill. Dale Gribble had a fake alter ego alias. It was Rusty Shackelford. Anyway, we all grabbed on to the fact that, okay, Watson's rusty. And that was easy because it was the low-hanging fruit. And actually, it made a little sense, right? And I admitted later that I didn't give full credit to the time that he was gone. And now I look back at it and I go, no. The rust had nothing to do with it. And I sit here today, as our 2 for Tuesday is going to go up at Matt Fontana Show. Drop us a follow there. Have you lost faith in Deshaun Watson? The rust has got to not be an answer anymore. It's done. It's over with. It's over with. And I appreciate and understand the people now that say, dude, we gave him $230 million. The rust, he got 2 games, and he burned those last year. We're into this now. I just kept grabbing onto it because that's what I wanted to believe. That was the easiest thing for me to kind of rationalize this. And now it's apparent that maybe had nothing to do with it. Or on the flip side, it had everything to do with it. And if that's the case, then will he ever get back? Let's have a conversation if you don't mind. Did the NFL actually just pretty much end Deshaun Watson's career by making him sit out? Think about it. He, in essence, because he sat out the year with Houston, which was the suspension, and played 6 games last year. It's about a 2-year, quote-unquote, suspension from the NFL. Did that bury him? Is that it? Will he ever get back to form? I don't know. And the cynic in me comes back to say, well, he's still got a $230 million contract, so it can't be all bad. And when I hear Watson last night, because I know that's a tough situation for him to stand up there in front of the media, he gave every cliche answer in the book. We got plenty of games left. Got 15 more to go. Everything's still in front of us. He said it was a tough game, yeah. But it's going to get worse unless he gets better. And there's no way to fix that until you get to what? The next game against Tennessee. And the problem is that this game last night is not erasable by an ass whooping of the Titans, okay? Like, that's going to be, I think, the biggest problem is that this is going to be something that sits there and festers for so long. People want the white jerseys burned, thrown into the lake after last night, because now you see him, you're going to think about the Nick Chubb injury.
Matt, I can't even sit here and fathom how yesterday would have looked if Amari Cooper didn't suit up.
Thank God he did. I'm with you. And the thing about with where we go with Watson, and shout out to Aaron Goldhammer, because Aaron, I love Aaron. He loves me. So he sent this tweet yesterday about if Watson was able to lead a drive at the end, we'd all forget about it. I said, no. There's nothing about that game that I was going to forget about how Watson played. And that's my problem is we're going to go play Tennessee next weekend. Tailgate, by the way. We'll tell everybody about that this week here, our Big Play Tailgate back here at Burke. We're going to come home on Sunday, play the Titans. You could demolish them. Probably not going to make me feel any better about last night. It probably won't. Now, you go out and beat the crap out of the Ravens out in 2 weeks. Okay, yeah, maybe, but let's cross that bridge when we get there. Nothing right now is going to make us feel better. And the biggest question is, now that we sit here today with Watson, did they make a mistake? Did they make a mistake? And if I'm jumping the gun here, if I'm trying to, this is not something I'm trying to be all alarmist, or this is just like, literally, I wake up today saying, did they spend $230 million on the wrong guy? All the draft picks and all that other stuff they gave up too. They said, this is the guy. And they put themselves in a position, Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski, we'll talk about Stefanski here in just a second, to say that this is the guy, right? This isn't some lineman you gave money to, you can walk away from. This isn't some defensive back you gave a contract to and you didn't deserve it and you walk away. This is your franchise. This is literally what will define Andrew Berry's career in Cleveland and Kevin Stefanski's career in Cleveland. I don't go so far as the ownership because they're owners. They don't fire themselves. And they'll, we're going to go through this probably a couple times, unfortunately. But I'm talking about, they said that this guy was it. And through 8 games, that's half a season. I don't see anything that they feel real confident about that, about what they did. And on top of all the baggage, and we're not even getting into that's something else. I'm talking about on the field. I'm talking about the numbers, the money you gave him to perform on the field, and he's frankly not. And now you have the added issue of pressure. Because I felt like coming into the season, okay, there were critics, sure. There were questions, sure. But we're going to ease on into this, okay? And you go out there and you play Cincinnati. Everybody was ecstatic. We beat the Bengals. Okay, Watson didn't play, but that's fine. That's fine. It was bad weather. Bad weather. It's okay. Wet football, no big problem. Okay. So you had that write-off. Okay, no problem. We move on. Now, after how you played last night, I don't see many people out there giving you the benefit of the doubt anymore. So now you're going to go out there with the added pressure every single week like you are some rookie quarterback, except you're not. You're a $230 million franchise quarterback. And I'm treating him like a rookie, where I don't know what I'm going to get on Sunday, and I have to watch the game sitting there wondering, going, gee, is he really going to be the future? You'd be better off doing a Brock Purdy. You'd be better off with Trey Lance. I mean, you just, whatever. That's fine. All right, we'll get rid of him. That's just draft picks. You gave up draft picks and the money.
Matt, I hate to speculate on this, and because who knows?
Speculate away, man.
Not only did Deshaun not do anything for us, he hurt us so many times. Mm-hmm. And I hate to bring this up. If DTR plays that game.
Oh, Ryan, don't go there. Not this morning, Ryan.
I'm sorry.
No, not this morning. I can't.
I'm not saying we would have won. No, who knows? But my goodness.
I can't.
My goodness.
I'm sorry. I can't. I appreciate you bringing it up, but I can't do that. And they'll give him every nth degree to figure this out with Watson. And trust me, he's got time to get it figured out. The thing is, will he get it done? So our Twitter question is up at Matt Fontana Show. Have you lost faith in Deshaun Watson? That's our Twitter question this morning. Have you lost faith in Deshaun Watson? We have to answer this question. I have not. Okay. I have not. I'm angry. I'm upset. And he played horribly. He did. But here's the thing, and I know that this is stupid and this is wrong and this is what every Browns fan goes, I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice. I have no choice but to believe that Deshaun Watson will get this figured out, which sucks, and I hate it. But this isn't some rookie quarterback. This isn't something that is easily escapable. You are stuck with this contract and this quarterback for years. I have to believe that he'll get it right. I don't like it. I question it, but I have no choice. For the betterment of my team, this is how it's mostly gone for most Browns fans. We've had great players come and go. We love Josh Cribbs. We love Joe Thomas and Phil Dawson and Joe Hayden. Love them all. But what trumps that is our love for the Cleveland Browns. We're all Browns fans at heart. And I want the team to have success. There are great players on it that I love, that I own jerseys, and we root for them like anything. But it still comes back to the betterment of the Cleveland Browns. And that is why I have no choice but to have faith that Deshaun Watson will get it fixed, because that is the best case scenario for the Browns. And at this point, the only case scenario. You're not trading him. What are you going to do, pull a Stafford and have to trade him away with first-round picks that you don't have to have somebody take his contract? And at that point, Matt Stafford was more accomplished right now than what Deshaun Watson is doing. Something is severely broken with him. I don't know what it is. Maybe Kevin Stefanski does. Let's talk Stefanski, but Ryan, I want you to cast your vote first. Have you lost faith in Deshaun Watson as a starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns?
Yes.
Okay.
I have.
I don't blame you.
I mean,
I don't blame you.
He like you mentioned, he looked like a rookie, confused, and he was making so many errant plays that with a $230 million quarterback, you shouldn't even have to worry about that.
Here's the thing. I did tweet about this. He's trying to do too much while not doing enough. That's the problem. On some of those plays where you see him running around, he's trying to do everything himself, which, again, maybe it's the contract. Maybe he knows he's not playing well. But the essence is I don't see him reading defenses. Like, I have, from my couch holding my daughter, I have a 2-month-old daughter. She sleeps on me every night. You don't know how hard it was watching that game last night when you can't move, sitting in the recliner with her. Watching it, I could see from my recliner that he's not reading the defenses, that he doesn't really know where the football is going to go, that internal clock in his head that we always know about. Maybe TJ Watt was really in his head that much. I don't know. But the thing is, he's not reading the defenses. He's having problems with it. Then it comes back to the play caller. Let's talk Kevin Stefanski here for the morning. It is Matt Fontana Show. We're on Big Play, iHeart, streaming on YouTube. We're up on Twitter as well, streaming there. We're not going to break. We're just literally going to fly through this hour. Keep going. We got to talk Fitzpatrick. We'll get back into Nick Chubb. And I got to tell you a little bit later why I don't think Kareem Hunt is the answer for the Browns. So stay with us here. Download the iHeart app. Search Big Play under live radio. You can listen. We're on 9 to 11. Chico's back to 12 to 2 today. Also, Big Play. We are the replays throughout the day. So the iHeart app, download it there. You can take us with us wherever we go. Kevin Stefanski in this whole mess. He's watching his job just run out the door, which sucks. And I'm not here to defend it. Like, that's the NFL, like where it is. I believe Kevin Stefanski's a good coach, but he sees the writing on the wall. And just the relationship between him and Watson, the offense that's getting schemed up. I think my biggest issue is that it's going to cost Stefanski's job when it probably isn't his fault. And he's not the first nor the last NFL head coach that's the case. Where I really do not know the answer. And I'll probably never get that answer because I'll never get the truth out of it. I think Stefanski's scheming up a good offense. It's just Watson's playing horribly. The coach will still always get fired in that. And that is the name of being a coach in professional sports. What do they always say about being a coach? You get hired to get fired. It is very rare that you don't get fired from a job as being a head coach in any sport. Rare. Rarefied air. And that's what you sign up for. Knowing that you could sit there and say, look at all of this great stuff that I'm doing and all these plays that I'm designing, and this guy's getting open and this and that, but Deshaun Watson's playing poorly and I'm going to lose my job because of that. Yeah, that's how it goes. And then we start this cycle all over again of looking for a head coach and trying to find the next one. And I'm not trying to rush this out, but it is inevitable. It is inevitable. And there's also sometimes a game like this is the point of no return, where that game was so bad that once it creeps in the head of the Haslams, because Andrew Berry's not the one firing Kevin Stefanski. It would come down from Paul DePodesta and the Haslams. And once that enters their mind, you ain't coming back from that.
Matt, you've obviously been watching football longer than I've been alive. So let me ask you this. Mm-hmm. Have we ever, since we came back to Cleveland, Have we ever, since the Browns came back to Cleveland, have we ever had our hands tied behind our back so badly to the point where all of our eggs are in this basket and it looks like there's no return?
No, I mean, here's the thing. To your answer, no. To your question, I mean, no. The answer is no, because I could even make the case that in the NFL, because of the fully guaranteed deal, yes, are the Bengals tied to Joe Burrow? Well, absolutely. Are the Chiefs, oh, by the way, to see Mahomes' new restructured deal, yes, they're tied to Patrick Mahomes, but nothing to this level. And it's a lot of guaranteed money. And at that point, what are we quibbling over? $10 million. I mean, Joe Burrow got what? $219? And I get fully guaranteed or something like that? Whatever. I mean, he got a lot of guaranteed money. So I'm not even talking about that. But the thing is that I guess there's a world, right, that Jalen Hurts just implodes. Because I'm trying to sit here and I'm trying to think of franchise quarterbacks that are similar to Deshaun Watson. Guys that had shown about what he had shown. Like Jalen Hurts showed more than Deshaun Watson did to get his franchise deal because he went to the Super Bowl. Herbert, like a similar level, right? Made the playoffs, lost, okay, gaudy numbers, great. But the revisionist history is, yeah, Deshaun Watson took the Texans to the playoffs once, had a record-setting year on a, 3-13 team or 4-12 or whatever they were. They're the worst team in football, but he put up gaudy numbers. And now I sit here trying to be like, well, maybe he didn't actually do enough to deserve this deal. So I could make the case that no team in the NFL, let alone the Browns, have ever been in this particular situation of guaranteed money with this quarterback, but then also the fact that they're not playing well into, their tenure, so to speak. And that will inevitably, if this continues the way that it is, as much as it pains me, is that it will cost Kevin Stefanski his job. And whether that's at the bye week, which I hope not, you want to bring Jim Schwartz and elevate him on a... By the way, can I get that on record for everybody this morning? What time is it? 9:27 here on your Tuesday. Do not... If Kevin Stefanski gets fired, please don't make Jim Schwartz the interim head coach. And you want to know why? Because I need him focused on the defense. And I guess at that point, you know what? The season's probably over anyway. Going to hell in a handbasket as it is. So I guess it really doesn't matter. I don't know. But yeah, it's already creeping in. It's creeping in your mind. It's creeping in my mind. So therefore, it's probably in the mind of Paul DePodesta and the Haslam. As much as they want to sit there and say that this is not all Kevin Stefanski's fault, because you and I, we all know it's not. We all know it's not. But there's nothing you can do. Ain't firing Deshaun Watson. Like, there's nothing you can do about that. And then, to just dive into the dark hole that we're in already, go through another coaching search and just kicking the can down the road. That was something that I said going into this season, and let alone, unfortunately, it cost Nick Chubb his season too, is that every year that you didn't get this right, you wasted a year of prime Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward and Nick Chubb and David Njoku and Wyatt Teller and all the guys that are really good on this team. They are in the primes of their career. This is the time to make hay. This is the time that you were supposed to be making these runs. And for every year that you don't get it right, you're wasting them. And eventually we're going to be 3 years down the road going, you know what? We need to find a running back. And oh my God, we don't have a right guard anymore. And then you got to cycle all through and you're rolling the dice again. For as great as some of the fines are, don't forget that the NFL is still always the biggest crapshoot in the world. To build an NFL team, there is inevitably a little bit of luck that these players turn out. And the Browns, their numbers came in. Not always. Baker, okay, fine. Austin Corbett, okay, fine. But for the vast majority, they have come up to what they needed to. They got Amari Cooper, and they were able to trade for Leidman, all these things. And now you are staring down the barrel of wasting that, wasting yet another year, and adding another year to the rest of these guys. And especially, again, if they need to go change the coach now, that's still a roll of the dice. You want to go get Jim Harbaugh? You want to pull him out of Michigan? Sure, that's going to work here. You could. That's my other thing. As big of a crapshoot role as some of the players are, same thing with the coaches. Outside of, and I'm trying to think this through real quick. When's the last coaching hire that was made that you just knew was going to work and then actually did? And I have one in my mind. I do. Andy Reid in Kansas City. And that's a guy that Super Bowl, right? I don't see any Andy Reids laying around out there anymore. Like, Nick Sirianni's, there were still questions about that. That was still a roll of the dice. All of the more recent hires of head coaches, Mike McDaniel seems to be working out okay down there. But I'm just saying, like, that's another issue. That's another variable that we now have to factor into this whole thing. So I feel bad for Stefanski, but that's kind of where we're sitting right here today, right? Like, what else are they going to do?
Matt, can I shout? I want to shout out Jake Trotter on this stat real quick.
Love Jake.
So he tweeted the quarterback off target rate, which is overthrows and underthrows, but not including spikes and throwaways.
Sure.
So this is the rankings through 2 games. So number 1 is Dak, only 8.1%.
Very accurate.
Watson is dead last, 32 with 27.6%. And even looking further into it, 28, 29, 30, and 31. Anthony Richardson, rookie. Bryce Young, rookie.
Can I ask you real quick what those numbers are, Ryan? Because I want to see what the gap is between Watson. Are they close?
So 31 is Jordan Love, who's not a rookie, but basically
still starting. Yeah.
Right, exactly. 23.1.
So
and Watson's dead last, full 4%.
And Dak is leading at 8%.
Correct.
So again, 8% of Dak Prescott's passes are basically inaccurate, is what they're calling it.
Yep.
And Deshaun Watson's near 30.
Basically, over 1 of every 4 of his throws.
So then, let's play that ratio out. You're going to have to throw the football 100 times. Like, think about it. If you think of 1 of every, and granted that there are still going to be just plays, those are just passes that are just inexplicitly horrible, let alone that the defender makes a play or the receiver drops it or something like that. That's 1 out of every 4 throws is just horrible right now from Deshaun Watson. Is it an accuracy thing? Is it a footwork thing? I don't know. And it's all hands on deck for Kevin Stefanski to get that fixed, while also trying to fix his offense because the one player that you built it all around is now gone. God bless Kevin Stefanski and good luck. Let's get back to Nick Chubb. I started the show with this, that I, like all of us this morning, are just gutted for Nick. Like, he is a good person. He is a great player. He's an awesome teammate. He represents our city so well. He's a fellow Batman nerd. I love Nick Chubb. I do. And to see that the way that it happened, let alone just what it means for the football team, I'm talking about just that person. Like, that sucks. And I'm sure waking up this morning and knowing that his season is all but over and probably going in for a test that he doesn't want to hear the results. And I apologize. Oh, we got a lot in the Twitter inbox. I'm sorry. I've been neglecting Twitter. I've just been going off here on some stuff. I've not seen anything on Chubb yet. I'm assuming we'll get that later. Kevin Stefanski's going to speak a little after noon today. So unfortunately, we might get the answer there that we don't want. But the Nick Chubb injury has just been, that's a tough one to swallow. It really is. And then it comes back to the Minkah Fitzpatrick hit. And I tweeted out last night that it's not the first time that Minkah Fitzpatrick has been called a dirty player. And people are like, what are you talking about? He's a dirty player. I'm not just talking about his hit last night. That is something that has come up about him before. Okay? Now I'm making that up. And I'm glad to see he's doing okay, because he had to leave. He had to go get scans at the hospital for chest contusion. So I don't wish injury on anybody. The essence of why I thought that was a dirty hit was that Nick Chubb was already engaged with a defender. I've never played defense I've never played in an NFL game. Okay. And I got how many tweets from people saying that I don't know football and this and that kind of stuff. Those guys are supreme athletes. Minkah Fitzpatrick is a professional supreme athlete that has played football his whole life. Don't tell me he couldn't have stopped. I watched it. You watched it. He saw Nick Chubb engage with the defender and still dove at his knee. In the open field, that's a little different. People say, well, how else would you take him down? Yeah, in the open field, you play through the hips. It's usually what any defenders tell you. Play through the hips, right? And you sometimes got to go low. The fact is that Nick Chubb was wrapped up already. And Minkah Fitzpatrick about laying on the ground. And he demolished Nick Chubb's knee. Do I think he did it on purpose? No. And that, I think that is where people cannot draw this line. I need people to understand that you can draw a line on this, that he didn't do it intentionally, but it was still dirty. People instantly think that when I say it was a dirty hit, that he went out there and said, I'm taking Nick Chubb out of this game, that I am going to demolish it. No, I actually don't think he did it on purpose. It doesn't mean that it still wasn't dirty. And I don't understand people that cannot differentiate those two things. It was a dirty play. He didn't mean to do it. Now, there are some guys, and Ryan Clark caught a lot of flack this morning because he's sending tweets out, former safety of the Steelers, saying that, yeah, he did go out there and try to hurt guys sometimes. That's a whole nother level. That was dirty. Do I blame Minkah Fitzpatrick for it? Not necessarily either. That's the other thing that people cannot just seem to grasp. It is football that those are plays that happen, but it was still dirty. When you see an injury that bad, it wasn't clean. If I want to sit there and tell you that that was a play, this isn't something that he's rolled over and got caught. I cannot watch that play and not think that it wasn't dirty. Didn't mean that he tried to do it. It didn't mean he was attempting to injure Nick Chubb. But that just, it is what it is. Take the Steelers out. I don't give a damn that it was the Steelers. And even if you want to try, which is hard for us to do this morning, to take the Browns out of it and take the fact out of it, Nick Chubb, I could have watched that play between the Rams and the 49ers. I'd probably tell you, no, that looked pretty dirty to me. That looked pretty dirty to me. It's that my biggest issue was he was engaged with another defender and he still dove at his knee. There is a screenshot, which I saw the replay, I think like most people. I didn't retweet it, and I was upset that some people, whatever. I guess it's social media. People do what they want, whatever. I don't care. But if you watch it at a point, Minkah Fitzpatrick is almost laying on the ground. That's how low he is. That's how low he tried to go. It sucks. And I have a giant fear that this is career impacting.
Yeah, Matt, I don't know if and I didn't say anything about this on Twitter, and I don't know if you caught it as well, but this was one of the first injuries I remember seeing in my history of watching football where I could hear Nick Chubb groaning.
Yeah. Oh, you heard him on the field.
And it just made your heart drop to your stomach.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You heard it. And Nick Chubb is a tough dude. I think the thing this is always the worst when a player tries to help, like a teammate tries to help him up, and the player goes, I can't get up. Like, no. And you know right when it happens. Like, and that's the same knee that happened at Georgia, too. And again, if anybody out there's ever had an orthopedic, you know, more often than not, you know what happened. You know what it. Clearly, I've felt that. I know what it feels like. It sucks. It's terrible. I would give my knee to Nick Chubb. I think all of us do. But the thing is, like, I question. Okay, you did it once down in Georgia. I'm going to stay positive about this, that we get hopefully just good news, folks. It could just be dislocated with a couple tendons, and that is fixable. And there are guys that come back from that. The two words that we need to avoid today is nerve damage. And they might not have that answer. They're going to go get the MRI. They have the answer this morning probably. And we're going to talk to Stefanski coming up afternoon, so we'll know. But I have this legit, I don't want to think about it anymore. I'm just going to try to stay positive that everything kind of works out when it comes to Nick Chubb. I'll tell you why I don't want Kareem Hunt in just a second, but you need your bet credits for football season. It was blood money, Ryan, but I got the over last night. It did hit on an alternate one. I got it with our friends at Tipico. Big Play Network is presented by Tipico Sportsbook. The Tipico Sportsbook app has your traditional bets like the money line, the spread, and point totals, but also lock in your player props and check out our Big Play boosts every single week back to your favorite Cleveland teams and athletes with the best odds in Ohio. They have predetermined boosts, too. Like I had one last night. It was the Browns to win, Elijah Moore, 50 receiving yards. Obviously, that didn't happen, but still, the boosts were all up there. They're all up there. Check them out at Tipico. Get in the action and load up for football season using promo code BIGPLAY150 to get 150 bet credits on us, plus a $30 dog pound bet with the Big Play crew all season long with Tipico Sportsbook gambling problem. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. So Nick Chubb goes down. He's the biggest piece to this offense. No question about it. No bones about it. This whole offense was built around Nick Chubb. He's out. He's not going to be here the rest of the season. And I would say of my good, the bad, and the ugly, which we'll get to coming up in hour two, Jerome Ford showed a little. And he's different. He's got a little speed to him, maybe a little more outside game to him. But there are people that, okay, you lost an all-pro running back. What can we do to replace that? And the two things that came up this morning ad nauseum, Jonathan Taylor and Kareem Hunt. Let me start with Kareem Hunt. I still don't think that's going to happen. The Browns let him go, and there were reports that came out that they felt like he lost a step, that he lost a gear, that he was not the same player anymore. Why would you bring that guy back then? And that's something, too, that I talked about the suspension maybe just being career-altering for Deshaun Watson. Let's call it for what it is. The suspension for Kareem Hunt was career-altering. We know that just on the money that he lost. But also, was he ever really the same player again? They tried to make it work here because they just happened to get him because of Dorsey, and he tried to run both of them, and I get all that. But he never really looked like that same guy that led the league in rushing in Kansas City. Just never did. So now at this point, and this isn't me crapping on Kareem Hunt. I like Kareem Hunt. I do. I would actually rather put my chips in the basket of Jerome Ford or somebody else, right? I think when you cross that bridge of trying to say that this guy's lost a step, yeah, he knows the offense. They'll get the running back up to speed in the offense in a couple of weeks, okay? I don't buy into that as much as other people. Or, he already knows the offense. You can go out and find a running back tomorrow, get him up to speed within a week, and then just start sprinkling things in. It's not like a quarterback either, okay? So that's number one. And I go back to, I don't see it because when things come out that they just feel like he lost a step, then they'll move on somewhere else. They'll move on to something else. I just want to be on the record is that I don't see Kareem Hunt being an option for the Browns moving forward.
I think there's a reason he's still a free agent. Like you said, there was such a clear, visible step back when we had him on the team last year. You could tell he lost his step legitimately.
Yeah, and there were teams like the Colts were reportedly interested in the Saints and all that, and sometimes it does come back to money, and there is something that... Does it factor in? Does it mean more here? Kareem Hunt, actually, it is played out perfectly for what he wants. Because we'll get to this around the league. Saquon Barkley is now out 3 weeks, right? Kareem Hunt, watching two superstar running backs go down, Jonathan Taylor still holding out. This is setting up to be Kareem Hunt's dream. He might sign this week somewhere. Because that's what he's going to do. He sat back and waited for some of these guys to get hurt, and now I'm sure his phone is ringing. I just don't think it's calling from the Browns. I really don't. To Jonathan Taylor. Because that's the one that people just would love Andrew Berry to pull some Madden move and get it done. No. And this is coming from somebody that is a giant Jonathan Taylor fan. I loved him come out of the draft. He's very good. If I could get him for a third-round pick, sure. The money, I don't care. You have the surplus of money. Burn that. You cannot afford to give up a first-round pick for Jonathan Taylor because of how bad Deshaun Watson is playing. Do you want another sprinkle-down effect from the Deshaun Watson poor play? You can't go get Jonathan Taylor now. You are not afforded the opportunity to go get Jonathan Taylor because Deshaun Watson is playing poorly. You know what I'm saying? Well, how does that correlate? Let me tell you. If Deshaun Watson was playing well and you knew for sure that he was your franchise quarterback, trade all the picks away. I don't care. Go ahead. You can't say that this morning. So now, in the bind that the Browns are with first-round picks, I can't roll the dice anymore. I am not afforded anymore as Andrew Berry to be giving away first-round picks anymore because I might need those for a quarterback in the future. That's why you can't go get Jonathan Taylor. You could make a deal with the Colts, let's say just in a fantasy world, this is complete made up, that they said, you know what, we'll take a third-round pick for him, but you got to pay him. Fine. And Jonathan Taylor, here's my call to Jonathan Taylor. Hey, man, would you be willing to come to Cleveland? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to rework your deal on a 1-year extravagant type deal. Right? Franchise tag level, I don't know, $15 million for this season. Straight up. No incentives, nothing. Here's $15 million. You got the space. And you're a free agent after this year. And here's your kind of level on this. Come play behind this offensive line. You saw what Nick Chubb was doing in that game. He almost had 60 yards in the first quarter last night for Nick Chubb. You come play behind this offensive line. You are going to put up some gaudy-ass numbers, and you'll get paid by somebody. Maybe by us, but by somebody. And at least you're playing, and you're away from Jim Irsay. That's a win-win. But you can't do it. You can't do it. You are ill-afforded to go get Jonathan Taylor because you cannot give up any more first-round picks because Deshaun Watson's crap in the bed.
Are we even sure Jonathan Taylor is fully healthy?
Yeah, I mean, he's on the PUP list with his... I'm assuming that's all game plan from them. I really do. And yeah, I mean, it'd be awesome to see him here. It'd be awesome to plug him back in or plug him into this system. It'd be great. That's another thing Deshaun Watson cost us. I'm not even trying to make, I really think that if Deshaun Watson was playing better, now our next pick isn't until what, 2025, right? Next year is the last year that we don't have a first round pick. If Deshaun Watson was playing well, I'd call the Colts with a 1 and take Jonathan Taylor off their hands. Can't do it with Deshaun Watson playing the way you are. Can't. It sucks. That absolutely sucks. So that's where I'm out on Kareem Hunt. I don't think Jonathan Taylor is going to work. I've seen, trade for Cam Akers. Again, this is number crunching. I'll tell you this. I'm rolling with Jerome Ford for next week. He showed me enough. I'm happy to, from what I saw, get it. Go ahead and do that. Can I tell you a name that I saw last night? Because I saw him. He sent a well wish to Chubb. We called Ernest Johnson. He's down in Jacksonville, right? Yeah. Is he getting carries down there?
I'm
putting you on the spot. I don't know how much you've watched Jacksonville Jaguars football.
It's ETN.
Jacksonville.
I'm pretty sure he's kind of buried over there behind ETN.
He's
Tank
third.
Bigsby. Yeah.
Third. I'll take the Ernest back. Call him. I'd do it.
I wonder what Lombardi Lenny's up to.
He's free agent. Leonard Fournette's free agent. I think of the free agents, Kareem Hunt and Leonard Fournette were the first two. Let me see this. Free agent. God, I hate I'm doing this today, man.
Another name that I wouldn't hate to see, and it wouldn't be costly, but granted, I don't know if the Eagles, they just signed him. I don't know if they want to move on from him already, and I don't know if he's 100% healthy, obviously, but Rashad Penny.
Yeah, I mean, he's not getting very many carries there either. Why can't I search this for free agent running backs? Unrestricted free agent, all teams. I don't know. This is going to annoy me the rest of the day. Because they have Derrick Henry on here because technically he was a free agent. Fournette, Darrell Henderson, is he still out there? Kenyon Drake. Oh my God. Somebody put Rex Burkhead. Oh.
Maybe we can get Danny Woodhead out of retirement.
Oh
Matt, I need you to look at the screen. Please. Please.
Why? Somebody put Rex Burkhead on a list as a replacement for Nick Chubb.
It's week. It's week 3.
God.
It's week 3, and we have Rex Burkhead rumors.
Oh my God! What's Toby Gearhart up to? Holy God! Oh my God! J.D. McKissick.
Matt, I would love to in this first hour too.
Holy God!
Just touch a little bit on Jed Wills.
Yeah, that's another one. It's another reason you can't be giving away first-round picks. You might need to get a tackle coming up. DeJuan Jones played all right. I thought he was pretty serviceable. At this point, again, with everything that has now happened, you have no choice but to ride it out with Jed Wills because you can't invest any more money or anything else in anybody to replace him. So you're just going to have to go with Jed Wills at left tackle. There are serious problems there. I don't think he seems and that's the other thing is that any NFL team, for as stacked as the Browns are, there is always this just razor-thin teeter between you're really good versus we're in a full-on tank rebuild. And unfortunately, I think we're taking steps towards that. Quarterback's playing poorly. Your best offensive player is done. You might need a new guard next year. Amari Cooper's money is all done. Joel Bitonio might be staring down the world of retirement. Jed Wills is not very good. Defensively, you need Grant Delpit to get paid. Man, he's making himself dollars every single weekend he plays because he's very good, and I knew he was going to be, and he's going to cost a lot of money. And now all of a sudden, Greg Newsom's going to need another deal coming up here pretty soon. That's just how quickly all of this can just go to hell. right? That's how quickly all of this can just unravel, where you have this team and it's built and it's ready and set to go, and all of a sudden, a few bad things happen, and they're all gone. And then there is no point to hold on to this guy, or there is no point to keep this guy anymore. Denzel Ward got hurt again last night. And thank God it wasn't a concussion. I saw it was cramps, thank God. But that's another one, too, to add to the list.
Matt, how much worse does this make it? The fact that this giant meltdown was nationally televised for millions to see.
I mean, I think the unfortunate thing is that people will probably just really think about the Nick Chubb injury, because that came out this morning of like Monday Night Football is cursed. You watched Aaron Rodgers get hurt in that game on Monday, and now with Nick Chubb. Now, somebody said 3 in a row, and I don't know what they were referring to.
They were referring to DeMar Hamlin from last year.
That's right. Oh, my. That's right.
Arguably, not even arguably, the worst one.
Oh, the worst. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so there you go. And so that was kind of probably my biggest takeaway of all of it was more they had to watch that. You know, here's the thing. On the epic, it was actually a competitive football game. And I said that earlier. If you're really trying to pull a positive out of things this morning, is that you were still in that game. You were in that game with as poorly as Deshaun Watson played. And that's another positive we'll get to. Good, the bad, and the ugly. You want to do about 10-15 this morning, Ryan? Something like that? All right. So we're going to do around the league when we return, because we just got to talk about some other people's misery and all that kind of stuff. But the defense played their asses off, man. And I am super impressed with the speed, frankly. Like, they are swarming to the football. Rodney McLeod almost had that pick. Grant Delpit's playing like a man possessed. Myles Garrett is still unblockable. The rest of that D-line, Zadarius. Now, granted, they got banged up. I think in a combo. Tell me if I'm missing, but Newsome got hurt. Ward got hurt. Garrett got hurt. Zadarius Smith got hurt. I think that's everybody. And granted, they all kind of made it through, and it's, you know, you deal with it and you move on. But that defense is swarming, man, and they are playing so very well. So that's a positive to take out of it as well. All right, we've done 52 straight minutes, so we appreciate everybody. Let's get to the Twitter inbox. We'll do this. We're going to catch a break. When we return, we're going to go around the league. I want to keep taking your Twitter updates, at Matt Fontana 83, at Matt Fontana Show on Twitter. Ryan is at Ryan Tyler 33. Catch all of our streams there. Get it on the iHeart app as well. And then all of our shows live, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, with on-demand shows on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So you missed a show today, you want to go back, we're on Apple and Spotify as well. All right, Ryan, you ready? Here we go. Into the Twitter inbox that we go. Greg tweets, nobody's calling Minkah Fitzpatrick dirty except Browns fans. No one. Not one single sports analyst saying it was a dirty hit, and the league won't be fining him because it was a legal tackle. It was unfortunate, but not malicious. Greg. And the other thing, I saw this too. Apparently the Browns were asked a lot in the locker room, and they said it wasn't a dirty hit. Okay? I'm not saying that it was malicious. I'm not saying that he's going to get fined. And it was within the scope. And this, I guess this is where we need to agree to disagree. People out there aren't seeing if you're not picking up what I'm putting down, just understand that we're on different wavelengths with this, and this is okay. That's fine. I don't want it. He shouldn't be fined. He shouldn't be suspended. It was within the scope of a play. It was just still dirty. I don't think Minkah Fitzpatrick was trying to hurt him. Okay? But it was still dirty. There's a sliding scale to me. Because again, what is the opposite of dirty? Clean. Okay? That was not a clean play. Let's twist it that way for a second. Let me ask you this rhetorical question. Was it a clean play? Your answer is probably no. Right? Therefore, it was dirty. No, there's some swear words in there. We're gonna okay. RJ tweets, I can't lose faith in him because I never had it. Ryan, I'll tell you what, RJ, and we appreciate the tweet, man. You and I had that. Like, what did I say to you this morning about an option of putting that in the Twitter poll of if you lost faith in Deshaun Watson, of one of the options being I never had it? That's fair. Oh, Sean says, give me DTR against the Titans. Here we are. Pat tweets, Watson has looked like a subpar rookie in every game that he played. He gets one, maybe two more games. He agrees Njoku needs more touches. Sign Hunt. Ford looks solid. Defense was solid but tired. Win for Chubb. Full Chubb for the rest of the season. That's what it is. With how he's played, I buried this tease earlier. This is from Mike Fleur this morning. on the possible of Deshaun Watson's 2 blatant face mask fouls, which again fall under that he was trying to do too much and in reality not doing anything. His shove at an official resulting in his suspension, a source saying that all plays will be evaluated and assessed today. So here's how this works. I think most people saw the video, and it was called out pretty quick on people on Twitter that saw it. Deshaun Watson shoved an official. So on the one where he face masked, was it Highsmith? Whoever it was going into the bench. And I get that it looked like his hand got caught in the face mask. Dude, have you ever had that happen to you, Ryan? I had a guy, our center in high school, got his finger, because, sometimes there's really tight bars there. So the guy got his finger stuck in there, and he tried to rip it out. Like, bad. It was bad. So I thought there was a chance that Watson, that's what happened. Like, he got his fingers caught into it. Then I saw the second one, and it was pretty apparent that when he's stiff-arming, he's grabbing the face mask. And that's what they're going to call every time. Like, stiff arms in general, like to the head, are kind of dangerous. They're the best thing to stiff arm, and he got it caught, whatever. But when he went to the sidelines, he stiff-armed the guy. He was in his face mask, and he either pulled it down or it got stuck, and it twisted the guy, and they got in a big hoopla on the sidelines. It was on the Steelers sideline, too, by the way. Coach came over, and as Watson's walking away, of course, they're going to start talking smack. Somebody said something, and Watson pushed an official out of the way. The hold me back, but then tried to get around him. That's what happened. That is review for a suspension. Because you can't contact with an official. Usually you get thrown out of the game for that. If it's blatant enough, you get thrown out of the game. Now that's if you shove an official to the ground. I don't think he's getting suspended. I don't think that's going to happen, but I could be wrong. So that's a whole nother part of it this morning. But Jay's tweet in the Twitter inbox says, he goes, with how Watson's played, I actually might welcome a suspension just to see something there. So now we got to wait for that this morning. The 2 biggest things we're waiting for this morning, update on Nick Chubb, status on him, and then also maybe if there's a chance that there's a suspension coming for Deshaun Watson. I don't see it that way. I don't think so, but we'll see. Let's update our Twitter question as well. At Matt Fontana Show, we're asking everybody 2 questions on a 2 for Tuesday, and I wish they were of a brighter mindset, but they're not. First up, sorry, I gotta find them. Twitter inbox is locked and loaded this morning. I appreciate everybody. Have you lost faith in Deshaun Watson? 63-37 people say yes. And again, it kind of goes back to some people that are tweeting never had it. To say I lost faith would be an understatement. And then do you think the Minkah Fitzpatrick play was a dirty hit? 75-25 people say yes. And I understand that this is a jaded part of Browns fans that are out there. I am telling you that when I watched that, regardless of the team or Nick Chubb getting hurt, that was not a clean play. So therefore, it's dirty. It doesn't mean that I think Minkah Fitzpatrick did it on purpose. Doesn't mean I think he should be fined or suspended. That just is what it is. Does anybody feel any better? 58 straight minutes we've been here on the show.
I'd say I feel worse.
I don't feel any better. I really don't. And that's the thing. It's the grieving process. We're just going to have to get through this. Serenity now is where we're at. All right, let's go around the league. Because I'm going to have to wallow in some other people's misery for a little bit. So go around the league. We're going to do good, bad, and the ugly from the game. We'll get into a little bit of Ohio State as well. They showed up what they needed to show up. Got some takes on Colorado as well. Across the league, we got everything going on. We'll get to that coming up. First break after 59 minutes. We appreciate everybody joining us this morning right here on the show. We're on Big Play. Check us out, as always, on the iHeart app and on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube with on-demand podcasts on Apple and Spotify, and BigPlay.com for all of our merchandise offers and our Tipico Big Play boost as well. Big Play Network, where you want it, how you want it, when you want it. We're back after this with Around the League. It's a therapy Tuesday on a 2 for Tuesday. That's kind of what I've dubbed it here on the show. Welcome back. It's Matt Fontana Show here on Big Play. Producer Ryan here as well. Check us out. Download the iHeart app. Search Big Play on live radio and listen. We're on every day from 9 to 11. Chico 12 to 2. And then all Big Play show streams replayed throughout the day. And then don't forget we're on Bally Sports Great Lake. Bernie with Hanford, Return with Josh and Maria Cribbs, and Bobby Carpenter with Anthony Schlegel on the B-Carp Show. That's on Great Lakes Bally's. I had a lot of people tweet like, dude, like, you know, they just, after the game or whatever, they turn it on, we're there. We're efforting. We might get there one day here on this show. Goals. But nonetheless, we're an hour in. I think we all feel a little bit worse, but let's kind of turn it around. Let's dive into some misery of some other people, Ryan. Let's go around the league.
Alrighty, well, Josh Allen and the Bills bounced back in week 2 after their meltdown against the Jets, 38-10. Good news for Josh Allen, no interceptions. However, the Raiders' offensive line looked abysmal. So good for Josh Allen and the Bills to bounce back in week 2.
Yeah, that was one of my guarantees. Like, there was no way they were losing that game. The Raiders quietly, secretly suck. They do. Can I give you a hot take? They'll trade Devontae Adams midway through this season. Mark my words. I think he'll get out of there. Now, it sucks because Aaron Rodgers isn't in New York anymore, so like that would have been a destination, even though they've given up a lot of draft capital and money. But they'd be wise to get rid of him. Go full-on rebuild. It's going to cost Josh McDaniels his job. You're moving on from your franchise quarterback. You were not smart to not do it the right way and tear it all the way down. Josh Jacobs should not be there right now. They should have traded him away too. Not granted that they had a franchise, whatever. But the Raiders suck. Bills, I still have yet, like, that was a step in the right direction. You know my take on the Bills. I think this is a down year for them, but that was a bounce back they needed.
Alrighty, well, the Ravens jumped out to an early AFC North lead, beating the Bengals 27-24. Joe Burrow definitely wasn't as bad as he was against the Browns, but still not a great day. 222 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick, and Lamar Jackson looked better than he did against Houston, and it looks like Baltimore's figured something out there. Yeah,
the scary thing for a lot of people is to understand that Todd Monken might actually run an offense that fits Lamar Jackson. I watched a lot of that game. It was the CBS game for us at 1 o'clock. Burrow's calf ain't right, man. And he tried to get back in that game late. Yeah, the Bengals started 0-2 last year and came back. Joe Burrow was injured. Like, he is legitimately injured. So that's, in a way, good news. The bad news is I really do think the Ravens figured something out on how they can maximize Lamar Jackson and use the players they have. Zay Flowers looks like he can play a little bit. I know Odell Beckham was hurt in that game. They kind of downplayed it a little bit. I think the Ravens. I don't really do picks or predictions or anything like that, but I think the Ravens are going to win the division. Real hot take there, Matt. They're out to a 2-0 lead. I got it. Ravens look damn good. They really do. And that was kind of a fear that I think a lot of people had jokingly about Todd Monken, who was here. But they seem to be running an offense that fits Lamar. That's not good for anybody outside of Baltimore.
Well, in what was supposed to be an offensive clash, the Chiefs and Jaguars, anything but that.
All right.
The Chiefs edged the Jaguars 17-9.
How many people? The over-under for that game was in the 50s.
I believe it was 50.5.
Yeah, and everybody goes, oh, my God, this is going to be great.
Trevor Lawrence, once again, didn't look fantastic. Threw for no touchdowns. Great for mine and your fantasy teams both.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I think the biggest conversation with this game was, man, did they enjoy having Chris Jones back.
Yeah. He was very much needed. Get-right game for the Chiefs. I was reading some stuff, too, that, like, yeah, they have Chris Jones this year, but really they will not be able to afford him moving forward. So it's good to get him back. Get-right game from Mahomes, couple of touchdowns and throw the 1 pick. Not the game we all expected, though, certainly, and that has a primer of being an AFC championship game. So not going to read. We actually had a couple of those, I think, this weekend of potential AFC championship games. That was one of them.
Alrighty, well, the Chargers, another surprising team, just like the Bengals.
Not this one.
To start off the season 0-2.
Ow!
And Justin Herbert seems like he's been doing enough. But, man, that defense, we saw them collapse to end last year, and it doesn't seem like it got fixed in the slightest.
They had the Sunday night stat last night that in 2 games, that offense has put up 58 points, and they have not turned the football over, and they are 0-2. Holy cow. Wow. Now Austin Eckler's hurt. Woo!
Feels good to know that we got people kind of in our boat with disappointment.
Well, and the thing is, you combo that with that playoff game when the defense just imploded. Now you look at it and you go, well, wait a minute here. Wait a minute. Yeah, you got Joey Bosa. That's fine. Brandon Staley's in a lot of trouble out there. Is he not also a defensive mind? Am I making that up?
I don't know, but man, they need to figure something out there in Los Angeles.
Yeah, he's a defensive guy. So I thought. He's defensive coordinator for the Rams. That's right. Brandon Staley. How's your defense that bad? Sucks. I thought they were going to be really good. I still think the Chargers rebound and make the playoffs, but and you want to know what? I have got to give credit to the Titans because I thought that they would suck. That's a hell of a job out of Mike Vrabel, man. That is a hell of a job. Sorry. Well, you have time. It's not really wrong. You see Ryan Tannehill come out and he goes, "Oh, I knew I'd have a bounce back game." Bull crap. Bull crap. Oh, I knew I'd bounce back and I'd play better. My ass. Like, Ryan Tannehill sucks. That I do know. He's bad. I think the Titans sucked a hell of a job out of Vrabel. I think they picked off a wounded Chargers team. Well, Chargers are floundering right now.
All right. Alrighty. Well, a little bit surprising opposite way. Starting off 2-0 are the Atlanta Falcons. They come back and barely beat Green Bay. Despite Desmond Ridder only throwing for 237 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Man, are they sticking to the ground game there in Atlanta.
That was a guaranteed lock for me for the Packers. I thought there was no way on God's green earth that the Packers were going to lose that game. And they were winning. They were up. They were doing fine. 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns changes that. Jordan Love still looking good. 3 touchdowns. There was some crazy stat that even Aaron Rodgers, like he's already thrown more or something like Aaron Rodgers never had back-to-back 3 touchdowns. I don't know. Something crazy. Anyway, he's playing fine. I think the biggest takeaway from that is you see how bad Green Bay is when Aaron Jones can't play. And A.J. Dillon only had 55 yards on the ground because really they didn't have Christian Watson in that game either. So their 2 best weapons on offense were out. I guess give credit for the Falcons. Again, I think they're not very good. They're running Bijan and Tyler Algier. They ran the ball 45 times in that game. Arthur Smith is going to run. That only works for so long unless you have guys like Derrick Henry. I think it'll get figured out. Still not a believer in the Falcons. Packers, they're going for a 500 year. They're not making the playoffs anymore.
All right, well, Seattle in Detroit beats the Lions.
I called that. That was one I did have.
And with Dan Campbell, with the good comes the ugly. That decision to go for it on 4th down at midfield really backfired. But like we saw with the fake punt in week 1, where it worked out. So Dan Campbell, he's got the stones to make some big calls. But
when he drinks the venti Starbucks orders that he has, he's probably all jacked up on caffeine. He's going to go for it. He's going to be aggressive. They're in the honeymoon phase right there. It's almost like he can't do no wrong after that win with the Chiefs. But that's a game. And Seattle, again, those are 2 middle-of-the-pack teams. I don't believe the Lions are going to win that division, but also I thought Minnesota would. But
somebody has to.
Yeah, somebody has to. That division sneakily sucks. Ooh, new segment here coming to the Matt Fontana show. Sneakily sucks. I think that division sneakily sucks. I think the Lions are okay. I don't really believe in the Seahawks either. But, hey, good win. I felt like Seattle was going to get that win. They did.
Anthony Richardson outdueled C.J. Stroud in a battle of the rookies. And Anthony Richardson looked really, really good in the first quarter, but obviously he had to leave early due to that possible concussion.
Mm-hmm.
But high-scoring game there. Gardner Minshew came in, played okay, 171 yards and a touchdown. And C.J. Stroud definitely looked like he took steps from his rookie debut of week 1.
Keeps the job done. He's talking about Gardner Minshew. I thought I was a lock for me. I thought Houston didn't get it done. I really didn't think the Colts would be able to back it up a little bit. Again, grain of salt type of win there. I think those are 2 bad football teams. They'll both be in the top 10 picks again this year. But it's easier to win. It's easier to take away things from a win. They're doing that with Anthony Richardson. For C.J. Stroud, I think DeMeco Ryans and Houston is doing it, continue to do it the right way. He threw it 47 times in that game after throwing it, 44, 45 in the first game. Just throw it, let him figure stuff out, and that'll work. But, dude, he was sacked 6 times in that game. That can hurt a rookie quarterback, but just keep letting him sling it. That's what I do.
Alrighty, well, our old friend Baker is off to a 2-0 start in Tampa. 317 yards and a touchdown, and he looks like he's got a real connection there with Mike Evans.
He does. Good for him. Tampa, again, somebody's got to win the NFC South. Washington, also a bit of a shocking team. We'll get to them coming up. I would probably read into, like most people, the 2 teams the Buccaneers beat. The Vikings, which clearly don't seem very good, and the Bears, who knows. Good for Baker. That's fine. Good story. They're one of the surprise teams at 2-0 for sure, though.
Is the Justin Fields experiment possibly coming to an end sooner than later?
that reeks of get him out of Chicago and he might turn into something. I feel like that needs to, again, be an offense where, like, it's got to be built for him, and I just don't see that happening with them. You don't know. You don't want to know where my mind just went. I'd take Justin Fields here. I mean, I would. You ain't getting him. It's not happening, but I just, like, that. That's how bad it's gotten, man, that I just sit here and I just start, like, the fact that even entered my mind of, like, I'd take Justin Fields.
Well, when you're down
We're down bad.
A lot of bad thoughts can creep in. But anyway, the Giants avoided a massive, massive crumble.
Oh, they need
going down 20-0 to Arizona before halftime, but they rallied and scored a nice 31 points in the second half with a nice come behind win. Daniel Jones, 321 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. But obviously the bad news for New York is Saquon's likely out. I think I saw 3 weeks.
Yeah, 3 weeks with a sprained ankle. I mean, the other thing is, and I saw somebody with this tweet, that was a perfect scenario for Arizona. Act like you tried, and you just gave it away in the second half. They're tanking. They don't want to win, but they have to keep up the charade and the facade that they're actually trying to win. That's a perfect game for Arizona. Well done, Giants. You shouldn't have been down that many points to Arizona as it is. Shame on you.
Well, San Francisco, honestly, the Rams played better than we might have thought. They only win 30-23. Brock Purdy remains undefeated in the regular season, and Christian McCaffrey looks like he, again, is a top 3 running back in the league.
Animal right now. And that's the thing. I think the Rams are again, could be a little bit better with the return of Stafford. All that came. The Puka Nacua is setting records and all that kind of stuff. He did some in 2 games nobody's ever been done before. Yeah, that tells you, I mean, how good Kyle Shanahan is with the 49ers. The 49ers, in my opinion, this is one of the reasons I think they're going to get to the Super Bowl this year. They seem to be a team on a vengeance. They are a team that is good and pissed off, and they seem to be just like on this mission from the jump. So I think they'll be in the championship this year. I do think they'll be playing for the Super Bowl.
Well, to nobody's surprise, Dallas routed the Jets at home. Zach Wilson, 3 interceptions. Dak Prescott, 255 yards, 2 touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb, a very good performance, 11 catches, 143 yards.
What are you going to do? Dallas, again, a team that I think is going to compete. And now things seem to be opening up there in that division. Not opening up. It's still the Eagles and the Cowboys, but the Giants aren't seeing who they are. The Cowboys are going to be a better team this year. Again, you try to take it away for what you can of who they beat, but still, Cowboys are going to be a good team. Jets, they're packing it out. Garrett Wilson's hurt, too. So, big impactful injuries across the league. I don't like seeing it, but yeah, Jets are bad. Zach Wilson's bad.
Well, in a much higher scoring game than many anticipated, Washington outdueled the Broncos 35-33. Russell Wilson, although a pretty decent day, 308 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. Sam Howell, 300 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Never in a world did I think that Sam Howell would beat Russell Wilson. Denver had it on lock. What was it at halftime? It was 21-14, so it wasn't that crazy. But, like, watching the first half, like, oh, yeah, Broncos got this. So the fact, okay, they hit the Hail Mary, which was a great play. It was fun to watch. Then that 2-point conversion that Sean Payton runs, that is your best play call? Are you insane? That's the best play call, to run a half-ass mesh route and to clog up the middle of the defense to make it even harder for Russell Wilson? The hell was he thinking? That was honestly my biggest takeaway from that. I was like, if I was ownership, I was the Waltons, Walmart, I'd be calling Champagne, like, what the hell was that? I still think Russell Wilson is not fixed. Sean Payton's got an uphill battle. Broncos suck.
Well, we touched on the Sunday night game a little bit, but Miami beats the Patriots 24-17. And while it's closer than it looked, you could tell Miami was definitely the better team.
A fun game to watch. I called that an alternate spread. Good job on Miami. Sneaky, really good team. A sneaky AFC championship team. And you got to give credit to the Patriots. We talked about the Bill Belichick riff with Don Shula, how he's trying to run him down for wins. Things better change there, man, or you ain't going to be getting very many wins. What's he need, like 20 odds, some more? Might be needing to play another, or might be needing to coach another 5-6 years to get that, Bill. Get better out of Mac Jones in that offense. Tough place to play up there in Gillette. Give credit to Miami. I thought that was a pretty nice win there.
South matchup. New Orleans beat the Panthers 20-17. Bryce Young once again seemed to struggle, although he was under a lot of pressure. The New Orleans Saints defense has looked very, very impressive. in the last 2 weeks. And quite frankly, I don't think it's outrageous to say the defense has won them their first 2 games.
No, and they're in the conversation of one of the best in football. I think the Browns are right there. I think the Steelers are after what we watched last night. Certainly San Fran. But, man, that New Orleans defense is flying. Carr doing kind of what Derek Carr does, 228 yards, and just wait until they get Alvin Kamara back. But one of the things I felt like was going to be a part of this season was the resurgence of Michael Thomas. 7 grabs for him. Chris Olave had the most targets, 11, but came down with 6 of them. Like, you could, again, if Michael Thomas is healthy and ready to go, sure, you could do a lot worse of a receiving duo of Chris Olave and Michael Thomas. And then when you get Alvin Kamara back in the fold, it sucks that Jamal Williams got hurt, because I think that could shape up to be a pretty good offense there. I'm not a big Taysom Hill guy, like mix him in here and there, but they might have some little cooking down there in New Orleans.
That sideline catch by Michael Thomas was very, very impressive and reminiscent.
Sometimes you forget. Yeah, we forget
how good he was just a few years ago.
Great stuff on Around the League. Well, not good is where the Cleveland Browns are at. We're going to dive literally back into everything. As I write up the rundown of this show, we're going to just here we go. Deshaun Watson, Stefanski and Watson, Nick Chubb, Minkah Fitzpatrick dirty. Where do the Browns go with the running back position and all that kind of stuff? We'll get to it when we return. It's Fontana right here on Big Play. Get us on demand, Apple Podcasts and Spotify for after the show. And we're live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube as well. Diving deep back into the Browns when we return. Stay with us. Little bit of a therapy Tuesday here on the show. Welcome back. Matt Fontana, he's producer Ryan here on Big Play. Check us out, bigplay.com, and all of our streams across all of our platforms. Don't forget Chico coming up at noon. Special edition of the Reflog show tonight, by the way, because we had our tailgate last night, which, by the way, was awesome. I had to talk to the people. I mean, maybe we make that little thing. But let me tell everybody, too, on Sunday coming up, Browns-Titans, our tailgate down here at Burke. We got some big things planned with that. We got some big things planned with Tipico. You don't even need to come to the lot. Like, if you're just looking for a place to hang out before the game, come on down to Burke. We got our tailgate rocking. We got some stuff to give away. Tipico will be here. It'll be awesome. So we'll tell you more about that as the week goes on. Because I can't wait to turn the page. We can't do it today because we all feel like crap. But eventually we're going to turn the page. And eventually we are going to look forward to where the Browns are at against Tennessee. And we'll get there, not today. I think we're all waiting to get news on Nick Chubb and kind of get it figured out. But, Ryan, there is a world that this does turn around. Deshaun Watson, after the game, gave you the coach speak. And he said, we still have 15 games to go, and everything that we still want to do is in front of us. And I understand all of that. And I agree with that. And if we make it to the playoffs or the AFC Championship game, we'll look back on this game, we can't laugh. Because the unfortunate thing is, if you had just played poorly, that's one thing and you lose. Last night might be a night that goes down in Browns infamy for all the wrong reasons. And that's because of Nick Chubb. I hate doing this, but we all remember Joe Thomas's last play. I know I do. I was sitting there. I was in the press box. And it's similar of Nick Chubb doesn't miss games very often. Nick Chubb plays. Joe Thomas obviously never missed a play. And when he went down, this is kind of the process of what happened. You go, wait a minute, who is it? And then you go, oh, crap. It was Joe Thomas or it was Nick Chubb? And you go, oh, God, I hope they're not really hurt. And then Joe comes out of the game. Then after the game, we find out, yep, torn tricep out for the season. And lo and behold, Joe didn't play again. And I hope that's not the case for Nick Chubb. And Nick Chubb is in a different place in his career, a little earlier in his career. Has gone through the tough times, not maybe as much as Joe Thomas had. But this is something where I hope that I won't look back on Monday Night Football and go, yeah, that was the last play of Nick Chubb's career in Cleveland. I truly have that fear right now. So then we talk about moving forward where that might always be a thing. And that sucks. And we won't know the answer to that question until years, potentially, right? But it's more about where the Browns are at right now. And the spiral, right? Because here's the thing. We got just such an amazing win against Cincinnati. We were all elated. We were riding high. We were on cloud 9 after that, right? Then we just get a swift kick to the boys, and here we are. Is that enough to then start the circle and the spiral around the drain? Yeah. Like right now, just based on how Browns fans feel and how we watch that game and how we watch Deshaun Watson, the season is on a precipice of going the wrong way. And you now face a must-win game against the Titans without Nick Chubb and with Deshaun Watson playing poorly. But there is a world that you do turn it around. You beat the Titans. Dare I say you beat the Ravens, which seems like an uphill battle at this point from 2 weeks from now. Just start with the Titans. And you start just knocking off wins. The thing is, and the bigger issue on all of this, is that you're not beating anybody with Deshaun Watson playing the way he did. Unless you somehow force rain and wind and crappy weather on every game that you play. Somebody needs to call Storm from the X-Men. Just always put a little hurricane right over wherever we're playing. We're back here, and I can't think of a dome stadium we're playing in this year. Do we play in Indianapolis this year? I don't think so. No, we're in Detroit. It's raining inside of a dome. How does that happen? It's Cleveland Browns. Unless you somehow order that up, what are you going to do? You can't win playing the way that Deshaun Watson plays and how he played last night, Sunday against Cincinnati. Is there still room to get it fixed? Sure. Do you feel like they're going to get it fixed? I don't know. And then also, we're talking about the timing element of this. You don't have 3 weeks to get this figured out. Your bye weekend until 2 weeks. And if you go into the bye 1-3, then we're really going to have problems. You question if Stefanski's going to come out of it, all that kind of stuff. But where the Browns sit, their only path to success is to get Deshaun Watson right. The defense, playing great. Amari Cooper, David Njoku, fine. Offensive line, sure, they're getting it done. Yes, they're going to have to piece together not having Nick Chubb. Yeah, they'll go with Jerome Ford. I already looked through a list of free agent running backs. None of them really are viable for me. So you're going to go with Jerome Ford for now. That's fine. But all of that doesn't matter. It is moot if Deshaun Watson is not going to figure it the blank out. He is not reading the defense. He is making scared throws. He's not seeing wide open guys. I don't even know how you fix that. I don't. And then the problem is there might not be a base to fall back on anymore. Whereas a Browns fan, I sat here and I said, he'll revert to form. And the form that everybody talked about was when he led the league in passing, yes, on a bad football team, or when he took the Texans to the playoffs. There's a world, and maybe I need to start accepting is that, Ryan, that doesn't exist anymore. It's gone. And he'll never, people just, the issue is that, and I blame myself on this too, that he will just fall back to that. Eventually, he'll get back to that, right? Maybe not. Maybe that version of Deshaun Watson is gone and never will be seen again. Let me give you the coach speak. Well, I'm trying to be a better quarterback than I was back in 2020, or a better quarterback than I was in Houston. Okay, fine. Go ahead. But there are just, it is so broken right now. And the thing is, I can no longer just accept that there's still something there, because maybe it actually is gone. And this isn't me 2 games into a season. No. This didn't look good for 6 games last year, and now he's looking bad 2 games into this. If people want to hold on to he needs more time, I can't do that. I'm sorry, I can't. For $230 million, for everything that it is, and now seeing what this season is developing into, we got to go. We got to go now. And there will be questions. And I hate trying to predict the future. Okay? I hate doing this. But my fear is that there have been things set in motion, or that there are things with how Watson is played that we'll never get over. Right? Like, you go win a Super Bowl, sure, fine. A grandioso, the dream, what we've all been waiting for. But outside of that, with how Deshaun Watson is played, I don't know if you'll ever feel comfortable about it. Seriously. Like, what can he do at this point? Okay, go win 10 straight games. All right, maybe fine, sure. And then we'll just, it was this bad start or whatever, other stuff like that. When I watch the game, I try to find things to grab onto. Oh, there he is. You ever see the movie Hook? It's before your time, right? You ever seen Hook? Great film. Robin Williams, he plays Peter Pan, an older Peter Pan. Dustin Hoffman is Hook. Like, Peter Pan, Captain Hook. Do you know them, at least?
For sure.
Okay, fine. Put it on your list. Great film. Julia Roberts plays Tinkerbell, all that kind of stuff. There's a line in the movie where one of the lost boys, they're trying to get Peter up into, so quick synopsis. Peter Pan is left Neverland, and he's old, and he doesn't know that he's Peter Pan. He's just some middle-aged dad, right? And Hook steals his kids, and he goes back to Neverland, and they need to recreate him as Peter Pan. They need him to remember that he's Peter Pan, and then he can start flying, and he can fight Hook to get his kids back. So he shows up not even knowing he's Peter Pan. These kids, the Tinkerbell and the Lost Boys are trying to get him back up to speed. And they run him through all these tests, and they try to get him to fly and all that kind of stuff. And there's a point in the movie where one of the Lost Boys, he looks at him and he goes, "There you are, Peter." He just saw something. He goes, "There you are." I've been waiting for that with watching Deshaun. There you are, Deshaun. There he is. And I see no plays. All I want is my Peter Pan play. The one where I go, there he is. That's the guy that they paid $230 million for. That's the guy that led the league in passing one year. Just one damn throw. Okay, him running is nice. I look back and there was a nice out throw to Elijah Moore. There was the one nice back shoulder to Amari Cooper. Those are good plays. None of those throws yesterday, and again, I'm jaded because we lost and he looked bad in general. None of those throws do I sit there and I go, there you are.
Matt, I'm really hoping that one throw to Marquise Goodwin, I'm hoping that it was a miscommunication or missed route ran, but he aired it out. And
Thank God Levi Wallace isn't good because he had a bad game in general, but just dropped it. Yeah, I mean, they mentioned on the broadcast that he maybe thought Goodwin was going to keep going that way. Like, deep passes are so hard. Well, let's not forget, too, that was double covering. There was two.
You want to talk about flashbacks to Baker?
Oh, God. That was double coverage. There were two defenders there. I don't know where the hell he's throwing that football. There were a couple throws that he, again, just completely errant and throwing away. But and I think as Kevin Stefanski sits here and tries to watch that game and understand, okay, what we're doing is not working. Can we start there for just a second? Clearly, what we are doing from a passing standpoint is not working. So what do you do at that point? You try to find the tiny little minimal things that do work. Get ready for more tight end screens to David Njoku. But even that kind of stuff, right? Whatever it is, you start finding the little stuff and say, okay, in general, it's not working right now. But there's got to be some parts that do. So what are we going to do? We're going to try to improve the other areas, but really let's accentuate the things we can do or the things that we're kind of good at. What are they? What are they? And I haven't had a chance. Like most games, I go back and I like watching the full field view just to kind of get a little vibe on things. It's just I really wish they would do that like in game. I know they won't, but it'd be fun to watch. And try to find the things that you do feel good about. And I'm sure Kevin Stefanski is watching the film all night. I'd imagine he didn't sleep very well last night. And you watch all this film, and then you have that underneath the umbrella, too, that you don't have Nick Chubb anymore. You're not going to be able to run the football. What you really set this offense up to be is not it. And, oh, yeah, my quarterback is broken, and I got to get that fixed. And my job's on the line. Good luck, Kev. I take no joy in saying that. I'm a Kevin Stefanski fan. I think he's very good at his job. It's unfortunately probably going to cost him the job. Like, right now, Ryan, do you think Kevin Stefanski's coaching the Browns next year?
No, I do not.
Yeah.
We didn't touch on it yet, but I'd like to talk just a little bit about that fourth down play call.
Sure, go ahead.
That led to the Deshaun Watson fumble.
Yeah.
Man, I just don't get it.
I get into arguments with people about fourth down because I've said this and I'll say it again. They're going to go for it. It's the NFL model. It's the analytical model that they're going to go for. Do not. I hate doing this because it sounds like I'm preaching. I'm yelling at people, and I don't like doing that. Don't get angry when they go for it. Get angry at the play call. Right?
Yeah,
that's kind of. I think you're going the same path that I'm going. You and I understand the way they went
for it.
Go for it, and I like going for it in the right situations. And I understand people that just they it's just a trigger. It's a lightning rod for people about going for it on fourth down because it's easy to sit there and bash them and criticize them when it goes bad. Don't criticize them going for it. Criticize the play call when it doesn't work. Because the NFL, the analytics, and how it breaks down, they're going to go for it. I just tell you this, right or wrong, whether you like it or not, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. But that is another microcosm of things, Ryan, of how maybe hamstrung they're going to be on what options they have, right? Like, what are you, when you look at that on a fourth down play, I just keep thinking of the Kenny Pickett play that Matt Canada called on third down to give us another chance, a quarterback bootleg. But on the Watson, the naked too, like just the other naked play that he tried. When you look at it, it's usually what your bread and butter, right? When you need fourth and whatever it is, what's your go-to here? And I don't know if the Browns have one right now. Because putting it in Deshaun Watson's hands doesn't seem to be a go-to, and you can't turn and give it to Nick Chubb anymore. That's a whole nother trickle-down effect of, what might be, because now you're looking at offense that you feel confident we can convert it 4th and 3, 4th and 4? I don't know. Change everything. The only thing is you feel good about maybe kicking now with Dustin Hopkins. Holy cow. You're allowed 11 guys on the field, not 12. Dude, I like Bubba Ventrone. Special teams was an unmitigated disaster yet again. Thank God Donovan Peoples-Jones didn't touch that punt. Holy cow. In a game like this, with a team like this, I can't have that crap anymore. And it's 2 games in, we'll get it figured out. Thank God Dustin Hopkins is hitting kicks. Missed a one, fine. Hey, you're going to miss from time to time. That's fine. Dustin Hopkins gets a passing grade from me yesterday. Bubba Ventrone does not. I've been seeing that my entire Browns life. Why can we never get special teams figured out? 12 guys here or 10 guys on this play. You had to burn the timeout that you probably could have used late in the game. I don't think it would have mattered very much, but good God. What is going on with special teams? Get it figured out. Back to the 4th down play. I tweeted this, Ryan. I don't really care that they didn't call it. Was it holding? Yes, very clearly. We know that. We saw it. We see the video, and there's going to be the report that they don't do the 2-minute report like in the NBA, but they hold the officials accountable. They get graded. That was a missed call. Didn't deserve it at that point. Now, it's obvious, and maybe we could have gone on the field. I was honestly just so apathetic on the whole game that was something that I didn't have the energy to be pissed off about anymore. But it was a hold. It was old. And to your point about the play call, and that's kind of the point that I was trying to make too, when you don't have that bread and butter thing, when you don't have something that you feel really confident, and coaches, any offensive player, offensive coordinator or play caller will tell you this, that they've got a section and a group of plays that there are like break glass in case of emergency. These are plays that are only meant to be run once a game, maybe even once a season, because once we show it, it's out there and they know it. And these are meant to be our special plays. Like, again, why I was ripping Sean Payton for their 2-point conversion. Why do you not go to one of those plays? And I look more at like the Chiefs where they run this, reverse type thing, or like a throwback, or so, whatever. You motion, you have everybody run right, and the tight end just squeaks out to the left, and you chuck it back, whatever. That play of you were throwing it there to do what? Draw a PI. That's what they were doing. Now, there was a chance, that they could have come down with it, but you're throwing that play hoping that the ref bails you out. And why do you do that? You do that because your player's going to bail you out. It was a PI. It was a hold, clearly. Obviously. They weren't going to call it. They were not going to call it. And they've had some success earlier in the game. Like, Mari Cooper had a lot of back shoulder stuff that he was getting done. I didn't, after watching that whole game, I just didn't have the energy to get ticked off about it. But you're right, Ryan. That was a hold. It was 1,000% a hold. And they didn't call it. What does it do for us? Not really much. That's where we're at. That's where we're at. David Njoku trending on Twitter. Let's see about this. I think that's like Njoku's going to have to step up a little bit here. There's going to have to be some other things that have to get figured out. I don't know. All right, let's catch a break. When we come back, our final segment, we'll wrap things up here on this Therapy Tuesday. We'll jump back in the Twitter inbox. We will check a couple of our Twitter questions that are up at Matt Fontana Show. Drop us a follow there. You can follow me at Matt Fontana 83. Ryan is at Ryan Tyler 33. And if you need some bet credits for football season, get signed up with Tipico, Big Play Network presented by Tipico Sportsbook. The Tipico Sportsbook app has your traditional bets like money line spread and point totals, but also lock in player props and check out our big play boost every single week. We will have a boost this week, by the way. I've been talking about it. We got it. We'll get it to our guys at Big Play. Nick is going to take care of it for us with our friends at Tipico. But we'll have our very own boost here on the show. I'm really excited about that, Ryan. So you and I actually got to sit that down, because you and I are going to make our picks for this weekend. So we'll get our big play boost every single week. Back to your favorite Cleveland teams and athletes with the best odds in Ohio. Get the action and load up for football season using promo code BIGPLAY150 to get $150 in bets credits on us and a $30 dog pound bet. Bet with the Big Play crew all season long with Tipico Sportsbook. Responsible gambling, please. If you need help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. I almost had a nice one hit. I had a nice little parlay cooked up yesterday. I did get the over, though, on Tipico. So we'll make some bets for tonight. No football, obviously, but the Guardians are in action.
That's where we're at this point, man.
Woo, boy. Guards.
Hey, shout out Jose Ramirez.
Yay, on his birthday.
200 home runs, 200 stolen bases.
Yeah, his birthday the other day. Trevor Stephan. Holy cow. I need him out of this town, man. I'm sorry. I hate doing that. All right, we'll get to it. We'll wrap it up. We'll make our wager for tonight. Tipico, stay with us. All right, we're back here. We're wrapping things up. I appreciate everybody. I hope you feel a little bit better. Just needed to air things out. We just needed to talk about it this morning, knowing that we're going to feel pretty crappy for the rest of the day. Don't forget, Chico's coming up at noon. He'll be on noon to 2. Special edition of the Reflog Show tonight. And then also Josh and Maria, I think, are on tonight too, right? So we had a full slate here on Big Play. If you ever miss any of our shows, you can get them on Apple and Spotify podcasts. You can also go back to Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. We're all there. We're on Bally Sports Great Lakes too. Bernie and Hanford, Josh and Maria, and then Bobby and Anthony with the B-Carp. Is that the... What's the name of the show? The Buckeye?
It's the Bobby Carpenter
Just
Show.
the Bobby Carpenter Show. There it is. So you get those on Bally Sports Great Lakes. And then we're always on the iHeart app as well, live with Chico and myself from 9 to 11 and 12 to 2. Where we go from here, because that's how I wanted to end the show, is where we go from here. This is a pivotal part of the season. You don't need me telling you that. With how this team responds, with how they get ready for the Titans coming to town on Sunday, and frankly, this week of practice, like, is this something that is just going to be absolutely devastating? This Nick Chubb injury is already, but it's how they respond. And you're going to hear the coach speak. You're going to hear the players say the same thing about them kind of moving forward, but that's hard to do as a person. In that locker room, like, they're going to see Nick Chubb come in with a brace on his knee, and that's going to be really hard to see. That I'm sure at halftime last night, Kevin Stefanski had to tell his guys about the injury and kind of move forward. They're professional athletes. It's unfortunate. And us as fans, we're still kind of, grieving in a way. And this sucks. But there's still a season ahead of us. And I think where we go from here is this Sunday is everything. It really is. And I've watched football enough in this town to know that that's how it goes.
I think how we handle these next few weeks, let alone the rest of the entire season, will say a lot about the culture of this team.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's not just the loss. It is the loss of Nick Chubb. It is that. It is trying to overcome that. And that's massive from an X's and O's standpoint, let alone from personality is the wrong word, but like just let alone from how you handle it from a mental side of things and how you approach it from that, because you want to know what's going to start creeping into that locker room. Here's how it's going to go. The first thing that's going to start happening and could happen this week is pressure. And they start tightening up and they start saying we have to be perfect. And now that Nick Chubb is out and that Watson's playing bad, I need to step up and make a play. And that's everybody on the team. That's Myles Garrett, Dalvin Tomlinson, Wyatt Teller, David Njoku. And then that's when you start making mistakes. When you start pressing and saying, I got to go out there and be perfect, or I got to go out and do something to pull this out of the fire. You're an MMA fan, right?
I am.
Okay. So you know when Leon Edwards, he upset Kamaru Usman?
Yep.
Big thing. He was losing 4 out of the 5. They were going to the 5th round. He was getting his ass kicked, and his coach started screaming at him, you got to pull this out of the fire. And he did. He head kicked him and knocked him out. Great fight. But he just kept screaming at him, you got to pull this out of the fire. And that's what I don't need the Browns to feel that way. And it's inevitable that that's what it's going to be. No matter what they say, no matter how they try to approach it, it's going to be everybody's got to take on more. Everybody's got to shoulder this burden. And then you start pressure playing poorly, even more down this. And then the step 2 beyond that is apathy starts setting in. I was very blessed for a good chunk of my career to work with Gerard Cherry. You know Gerard, he's on the Browns Network, ESPN Cleveland. And I love Gerard. He's literally one of my favorite people that I've ever met doing this job. Gerard and I had a lot of conversations about this. Gerard won 3 Super Bowls with the Patriots. He knows football. And he said one of the things that you need to avoid as you get later into the season is guys counting practices. And what they're doing is the season is over, they're fried, and they know they just got to get through 10 more practices and they're into the offseason and they're on the beach or they're cashing their check and they're out of here. What you don't need to have happen is the Browns start to play pressure-filled and then it goes bad and the apathy starts to set in come October. Because I've been there. We've all been there. Where in October you're lame duck. You are just floating it on through. And at that point, you're talking about a potential change at head coach. All these craziness things start to happen. We are on a hair trigger right now with this team. Which is crazy because, yeah, they're 1-1. But the thing is, the feeling of beating the Bengals is not outweighing our loss to the Steelers. That's the biggest problem. If we'd have gone out there on a clear day and shellacked the Bengals, then maybe we're feeling a little different this morning. Maybe we're starting to feel like, it was one good game, one bad game. You don't feel that way. We all know that Bengals game was a bad game. It was a bad game. The defense has played well in 2 games. You can't knock that at all. And the offense gives up 2 touchdowns. What do you want them to do, right? Yeah, I'm talking, giving points away to them. But you don't feel that way. So now we even sit here at 1-1, which again, thank God we are. At least got the 1. But you are on this season is teetering in week 3. In week 3. And that's a hard way to play. That's a hard way to coach. Lord knows this, it's a hard way to fan. They're putting years on our lives, right? Like it's. You tell me you didn't watch that game and lose hours of your life.
I think the biggest thing for me was, up until that midway through the 4th quarter, I really did still think, wow, our defense is playing this good. We're going to find a way to get this win.
And the thing is, at the end of the day, which is something that we haven't talked about a lot here on the show this morning, is you still gave Deshaun Watson the football in the 4th quarter with a chance to go win the game, and he didn't. You want to rip away everything of that game, except for the final drive. I could just make a blanket statement that your $230 million quarterback had a game-winning drive in hand in the 4th quarter and he blew it. That's it. Regardless of Nick Chubb not being out there or not, you still were in that game and gave your $230 million quarterback the football with over 2 minutes to play, and you didn't get down the field. You want to rip into play calling? There were certainly some questionable ones here and there. You had to do it with maybe lesser guys. I get that. Deshaun Watson had the football in his hand with over 2 minutes and 2 timeouts at that point, if I'm not mistaken, to try to go down and win the football game. And he didn't. Okay? Well, the other part of it, you had the football with a chance to ice it away. You fumbled it and gave him a touchdown. Turned the whole thing on its head. Again, give the defense credit. They got the football back for you. And you still choked it away. You had 2 looks at. I'm back to being angry. You had 2 chances to ice that game away. Either, I shouldn't say ice it. You had a chance to ice the game away and you had a chance to go win the football game. Both of the times the ball was in Deshaun Watson's hand and he didn't get it done. He fumbled it, gave up a touchdown. The other one, turnover on downs, and you're out. They need to flush it. I want to sit here and do the whole thing about burying the football or burning the tape. They can't do that because they're going to have to find some things to pull out of this and also find a way to see what an offense looks like without Nick Chubb, which might be the biggest task of all of it. Yeah, fixing Deshaun Watson is it, but you might have to find a way to execute without Nick Chubb. Is this the complete flip where you go to, Watson's going to throw it 40 times now? Seriously. Is that now what we're staring down the barrel? Where the flip side, the 2 points of that is, okay, we might not be able to run the football anymore. Even no matter how good the offensive line is, people are probably screaming this right now, and your point is well taken. We have an offensive line that, even maybe Jerome Ford could look, and that's a shot at Jerome Ford, that's mean. Jerome Ford is good. But with the offensive line that we have, you might be able to take a mid-level running back and make him look really good. But to try to fix Watson, could it then be, we're just going to throw it 40 out sometimes? And that would be a death by 1,000 cuts, right? If he continues to throw and throw as poorly as he is. But it kind of makes sense. And I'm sure those are discussions being had in Berea. That now if we're down our all-pro running back and our quarterback needs work, well, what are you going to do? Well, maybe we go to the offense. Maybe we go to this West Coast offense. Short dink and duck. Get it to Njoku. Get it to Elijah Moore over the middle. Remains to be seen. Biggest news is going to be Nick Chubb today. I'm assuming, Kevin Stefanski rolled him out for the season tonight, or for last night, excuse me. And I know that there's a lot of people that they had the reports like he dislocated this and all that kind of stuff. Like, really need to see. I'm going to be sitting here today waiting for the MRI results, which I assume we're talking to Kevin Stefanski coming up. I think he's a little after like 12. He's like 12:30 or something like that. But we'll have to see. And the thing is, the prognostication will be, he'll have surgery. Then the issue is that we will know nothing really about Nick Chubb's future for months. He's got to get the surgery. I'm assuming there's surgery. I doubt very highly that there isn't some sort of surgery that he needs. He'll go under the knife. He'll get the surgery. He'll get that fixed, hopefully. And then once the rehab starts, then maybe we'll get a clearer picture. At this point, I am just praying with everything that I got that Nick Chubb can play football for the Cleveland Browns in 2024. That's it. That's all the mindset that it is. Under all this other stuff, Watson getting right, I don't think this is some rallying cry thing. They got to get some things figured out. There's a lot of issues right now at 76 Lou Groza Boulevard. And I hope the Browns have enough time to get it fixed before it costs Kevin Stefanski's job in this season just goes to the crapper.
I can't fathom how I'm going to be watching the Browns next week and I have to stomach Jedrick Wills.
That's another thing you got to get fixed.
And then pouting on the field.
All right. Well, let's drown our sorrow. That's not funny. I really shouldn't joke about that, about drowning our sorrows in some bets. But I'm going to get a little action tonight on the guards. What do we got here? What do we got, MLB? Let's take over Tipico. Big play 150. Use that code. Get some free bets on us. We have tonight Logan Allen on the hill. Guardians are favored by a 1.5 plus 100. Book it. I like it. Ooh, the over-under is a high 9.5. How about this? Boosted. Logan Allen, 6 strikeouts plus 245. I'm just going to take the Guardians minus a 1.5, and that's it tonight for the Guards. Appreciate everybody's support. We had a lot of viewers today. Thank you so much for joining in. We'll be back tomorrow from 9 to 11. Catch us on YouTube, social media, and then, of course, the replay, the podcast up on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Get it all there. Don't go anywhere. Coming up at noon, Chico Borman will be joining us, or not joining us. Chico's show will be on from 12 to 2 coming up across all the platforms. So we appreciate it, and bigplay.com for all our merchandise and things like that. Hopefully you feel a little better. We appreciate you joining us this morning. For producer Ryan, I'm Matt Fontana. And as always, take it easy.